Welcome into the Lifeline Morning Show. I'm Steven. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Hey, this morning feels just a little strange, right? I mean, first, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is awesome. So glad to celebrate that. And at the same time, we've got some winter weather trying to roll through the valley. Yeah, looking outside my window here in Arab at my house, I don't see anything out there on the roads just yet, but I know that it's supposed to be rolling in a little later this morning, so I'm sticking around here so I don't get stuck in Gunnersville and can't get home. So I've been enjoying all these winter pictures I'm seeing on my Facebook. My little brother and my cousin both live up in Kentucky, and they got plenty of snow, and so it's just not quite reached here yet. So we'll see how it all works out, but rest assured, our local government, well, they've been taking care of the roads here in Arab. I noticed those roads were brined. We went over to Huntsville just the other night, and they had already brined those roads in preparation of this. So hopefully we won't have a whole lot of travel problems, but please stay weather aware. Okay, let's get to it. I've got your inspiring quote of the day right here. Peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is, rather than how you think it should be. That really hits home this morning, doesn't it? Because, hey, we've kind of got to interact with what's going on around us. We can have this idea of the best possible circumstance, but chances are that's just not going to happen. So I wanted to back this up with a little bit of scripture. And from John chapter 14:27, Jesus said, "I am leaving you with a gift, peace of mind and heart. And the peace I give is a gift the world cannot give. So don't be troubled or afraid." I love that verse. Now, if you ever want to dig into a scripture, may I suggest blueletterbible.org. I went there and I looked up the word peace, what Jesus says he's going to leave with us. And I got to looking at the definitions. I absolutely love this one. The tranquil state of a soul assured of its salvation through Christ, and so fearing nothing from God and content with its earthly lot, of whatsoever sort that is. You see, we have power to be content in whatever situation we're in because we know who holds our future. We know who holds our present. We know who holds our past. And that is our Heavenly Father. And that's through Jesus Christ. So I just wanted to encourage you this morning. If you've been in a lot of turmoil, a lot of stress, maybe you need to focus on this quote. I'm going to read it one more time as we go back to music. Peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is, rather than how you think it should be. Thanks for hanging out with me. You're on the Lifeline Morning Show. Sometimes you just got to do it afraid. I've heard that advice more than once, and it still scares me. Doing it afraid? I mean, come on. There's nothing comfortable about that. But then again, maybe that's the point. According to Stephanie Harrison, there are some ways that we can improve our confidence. You might not like the process, but I think you'll definitely love the result. Here, take a listen to what she has to say about it.
Most of the advice given about confidence is actually focused on how to look confident. You're told to fake it until you make it, or to get the things that we associate with confidence, like a certain appearance, possessions, or achievements. But because this is all about how other people perceive you, it can end up being really hollow and fragile. The truth is that if you want to be a confident person, then you need to do scary, hard, and uncomfortable things. I know this is really disappointing, but let me explain why. There are actually two levels to confidence. The first is your confidence in your ability to do certain tasks. The second is in your general level of confidence as a person. We want the second one, but the only way to get it is by focusing on the first. This is why so many people struggle to be confident. They think that they have to be confident as a person to take on a scary, hard, or uncomfortable task, when really it works the other way around. It's by taking on tasks, especially those that you find scary, hard, or uncomfortable, that builds your confidence as a person. And you're not supposed to feel confident when you start taking on one of those tasks either. Of course you don't feel confident. It's new, it's scary, it's difficult. If you try anyway, you'll learn, you'll get better at it, and eventually you'll master it. You'll become confident in your ability to do the task. While you're doing that, you're simultaneously increasing your confidence in yourself as a person, because you're proving to yourself that you can face your fears and come out the other side, that you can try new things and learn and grow from your mistakes, and that you can master tasks that once seemed impossible. You begin to trust yourself, you begin to see your strengths, you become more comfortable with uncertainty. In short, you become a more confident person. So please try to do something today that feels just a little bit scary, hard, or uncomfortable, and know that as you're doing it, you're becoming more and more confident too.
Yes, you can do it. Remember that verse in the Bible that talks about how everything is possible for God? And the same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives inside of you. So remember that today. You're not alone. You can be confident because you are empowered to be confident. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. We are all super focused on those road conditions out there because of this winter weather that's rolling through the Tennessee Valley. And I'm keeping a check on that as well. And as I get more information, I'll pass it along to you. I did notice that we have a lot of roadways that have been brined, a lot of precautions already taken. So hopefully the travel problems won't be as bad as they could have been. But I thought, hey, let's talk about a different form of transportation. When's the last time you got on a plane? Yeah, going to the airport, it's a little weird, right? Having to get there so early. You got to get through TSA checkpoints. They still make you take your belt off. I still don't like that. But after that, then you got to wait for your plane to board. And let's be honest, it's really easy to get bored during that time. I don't know, maybe you just get on your smartphone. Most people do, peruse the socials, but still, it's like, I want something to do. Well, let me tell you, if you're traveling into or happen to have a layover at the Indianapolis International Airport, there is something new for you to do. In recognition of the Indiana Pacers hosting the 2024 NBA All-Star Weekend, they have put a full-length basketball court in there, so you can shoot some hoops while you wait. Who knows, it might take you back to your glory days of when you were on the team in high school, and you might find yourself getting a little too involved. Let me just warn you, you don't want to be the person who spends 2 hours shooting hoops and then you're that stinky person on the airplane. People are going to look at you strange. So please, moderation is key here. I wouldn't want to be the person beside that stinky one. Oh, rolling sweat. That's just nasty. Anyway, the Indiana Pacers, they did host the NBA All-Star Game way back in 1985, back when the GOAT, the greatest of all time, was playing. Yeah, none other than the Michael Jordan. He was in a slam dunk contest that year. And believe it or not, they were actually slated to do this in 2021, but all those plans got wrecked because of COVID. So many people's plans got wrecked because of that, right? So just wanted to throw it out there. If you're going to be near the Indianapolis International Airport, you might want to grab a ball and shoot some hoops. Maybe a game of horse. We don't want to go like full game out there. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. There's this principle that's talked about all throughout the Bible, and it's about seed time and harvest. And, you know, Galatians chapter 6 talks a lot about it. In fact, in verse 7, this is what it reads: "Don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. You will always harvest what you plant." And when you read that verse, you can automatically take it as a warning because that's how it's read there. But, I mean, look at it from the flip side. What if you embrace the justice of God? What if you do remember that you harvest everything you plant, and you plant accordingly? There's some freedom in that. And Myron Golden has a really good way of explaining it. Here, take a listen.
When they think of this verse, they think of it negatively. Like, if you do a bad deed, it's going to reap a bad harvest. Yeah, it will. But if you do a good deed, it's going to reap a good harvest. That's the context. How do I know? Well, look what it says in verse 8. "For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit of the Spirit shall reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well-doing." Let's don't get tired of doing good. Why? Because in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Here's what it said. Don't get tired of doing good, because when harvest time comes, we will reap if we don't quit. Some people quit because seed time is not harvest time. But I've been sowing and I haven't reaped yet. Right, but here's the thing. You don't know when harvest time is. God knows that. Everything is beautiful in His time. There's a time to sow, there's a time to reap. There's a time to build, there's a time to tear down that which has been built. There's a time to plant, there's a time to pluck up that which has been planted. There's a time to heal, there's a time to kill. What? See, every season has its own reason. And see, we think that we get to determine the season. I don't get to determine the season. Here's what I get to do. Sow the seed and cultivate the seed until God brings the harvest.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Just a little programming note, we will not have the car line competition today. Our kids are out for MLKJ Day, so I thought, hey, let's give it a break. Most of them are asleep anyway. And for those of you who are tuning in to play the car line competition, thank you for being such loyal listeners. It really means a lot to me. Hopefully we'll get back to it soon, but I did want to let you know that I am monitoring all the weather information, and as I get more info, I'll pass it along to you. Up in Huntsville, looks like they're getting a little more sleet, and those sidewalks are at least getting a little tricky, but we'll see about these road conditions as we go throughout the day because more precipitation is supposed to be coming through. I'll keep you updated as I get more info. I will pass it along to you, so keep it locked in right here. Got some more great music for you now. Thanks again for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Most kids are happy just to get a day out of school with that winter weather out there, but then there are some kids who go above and beyond. Yeah, and they look forward to making a little money on that day. After all, they're not going to be tied up at school, so they might as well be productive, right? I think that's what this 9 and 11-year-old were thinking when they decided to, send these letters out to their local neighbors. Let me read a little bit of it to you. It says, "Hiya, I'm," and gives their name. "The boss, me, and my brother would like to shovel your sidewalk snow for our business. You'll pay a small, even fee. I'd prefer $10 to $16 in dollar bills, please, if you have them. We are looking forward to this business, so please recommend. Otherwise, if you do recommend, I would be very happy. Call our number. We work from 3 to 5 p.m. dark time. I'm 11 years old, cool and nice. I love the snow. And my brother, he's 9 years old. He's the boss, the leader, and he's nice and kind as well." And then the 9-year-old says, "I'm the boss. Hello. Please use our business. We are like one of a kind. Please do our business. I would really appreciate it if you did so. Please call. Warning, 45 minutes to work on Saturday. Another warning, we won't answer if busy or doing another sidewalk. And finally, we don't work on holidays." So there's that. Business opportunities. 9 and 11 years old. Entrepreneurs in the making. And there might be enough snow out there to shovel after this winter weather rolls through. Who knows? This might become a local business. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. We think we're sneaky. We'd like to believe we could get away with anything. Yep, us husbands, we are secret agents from time to time. We have to do things on the down low just to make sure that we don't, get harassed or asked any kind of questions. Case in point, my wife's birthday was last week, and I still hadn't gotten my daughter a birthday card to give to her mom. So it was like last minute. It was terrible, I know, but I had to get this done. So I call up Nana, who has Grace with her, and I say, "Hey, I'm headed to Walmart here in the next few minutes. Can I call and FaceTime you and show Grace the options on the card aisle? That way she can pick one out for her mom." She said, "Yeah, that'd be fine." So I did that, and we picked out an amazing card. It was so nice. But here's the deal. I had to go pick up my wife, and she was riding with me to go pick up Grace, and Grace hadn't signed the card yet, so I'm like super stealth mode, right? So I hide the birthday card in the console of my truck, hoping she won't open it up, and she didn't the whole time. It was great. And then I go ahead and I grab that card out after she gets out to go into Nana's house, right? She doesn't see me do this. I'm wearing this nice blue jacket. It's got big pockets on the inside. So I grab that card and I grab a pen and I slip them in my pocket. I zip up my jacket real quick and I follow behind her. She suspects nothing. We walk inside. She sees her mom. Her mom has a birthday gift for her, so she is occupied. I slip around and I find Grace. I'm like, "Hey, take this card and this pen and go upstairs and sign it real quick." And so she did. She went upstairs. She did all that stuff. She brought it back down to me. And then I grabbed the pen from her and I said, "Okay, go give this to your mom." So she goes, gives it to Cassie. Cassie loves the card. Hugs are given. It's a good time, right? But there was one little thing that Cassie said that kind of got me. And she's like, "Daddy's sneaky, isn't he?" I'm like, "How did you know?" Sometimes I'm afraid you ladies are clued in a little too well onto what we're up to. Want a little more evidence? I've got a story for you coming up I think you're going to love. Stick around. The masters of disguise. Sometimes us husbands feel that way, especially when we're trying to get one over on our significant other. Yeah, maybe a purchase that she doesn't know about. Let me set the scene for you. This guy was trying to sneak something into the garage without his wife knowing. Yeah, because you can't see this, I need to explain. He's got this huge box on his hand trucks and he's rolling it back toward his garage when he's caught red-handed.
This guy doesn't know I'm filming him. I don't know what he's trying to sneak into the garage. What are you doing?
Why are you standing in the corner like an FBI agent?
What are you doing?
I got a package today.
Why are you trying to sneak in like the Pink Panther?
I thought you was in bed getting ready. What are you doing? You're weird. What are you doing?
What have you got? You were supposed to stay. Where's that from first?
I bought socks. A lot of socks.
You're like scuttering through here like a cockroach.
Yeah, I thought you were about to get ready. If I put it back here, you'll never know it's back here. What? Why are you staying in the corner filming me?
What's in that box?
Socks.
What's in that box? What's in that box? Hang on, is there a label on it?
No, there's no label.
What's in there, honey?
A pretty elegant blue.
Blue what?
Black tattoo. See, look how pretty it is. Well, you can't see it. It smells like crap.
Where were you gonna hide it at?
I don't hide nothing.
You were gonna hide.
Oops. I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, and as we were eating lunch, he told me that he likes to take his sons to the Guntersville Public Library for building with Legos. He says it's therapeutic for him, too. He'll even go ahead and enter his in the showcase. He'll put it out there for everybody to see, and he'll put the name of it, but he won't put his name or how old he is. It's pretty cool. But there are a lot of great resources right there at your local public library. Have you checked it out recently? I know when we were kids, that was a place to go, right? But since the internet has come around, it's like you can get everything online. Well, you can in a way, but the library might actually give you some incentives even there, too. I don't know if you're aware of this, but yeah, your local library may offer courses through these apps and websites absolutely free to you just because you're a member. Things like Coursera, Udemy, and even LinkedIn Learning. You can learn all kinds of stuff. And there are other incentives as well, but I wonder if maybe you heard about this. Zoo and museum passes being offered for free from your library. Many cities, including New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Seattle, and more, offer free admission tickets to those area museums, parks, gardens, zoos, etc. And you get so many per month. How cool is that? You can really save some money there and take the family to go have a learning experience. And in some states like Michigan, Tennessee, and Virginia, you can even check out works of art to hang on your wall for a few weeks at a time and then go change them out. So always keep the house looking fresh. And for those of you who have been dying to learn how to play a musical instrument, some libraries actually offer them for free. You can check them out for a few weeks, learn a little bit, maybe you can even get an extension, that kind of thing. So if you really want to learn, but you don't want to put too much money down on an instrument that you think you won't like, or maybe even your kids won't like, well, there's an option for you. All you have to do is check out your local public library. And for those of you guys who need a particular tool to get a job done, some libraries offer power tools. But for all this, you've got to check out your local library and see what they offer. But I think you'll be astounded at all of the things they have ready for you to borrow for a little while. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Learning something new every day, huh? I want to shout some people out real quick. I see you listening to us on the stream right now in Helsinki, Finland. Thank you so much for making us part of your day. Plus, we got listeners right here in North Alabama, in Gunnersville. And I see Reno County, Kansas is hanging out too. Hey, thanks for making us part of your day. And whether you're listening to us on the radio, the stream, or the podcast over on Spotify, I just want to make sure you understand we are thankful for you. You're part of our story. Over 28 years of reaching this world with some really good news. Thanks for being here. This weather's been weird here lately, huh? I mean, last Friday with all those threats of the really high sustained winds, and then now it's so cold and it'll continue to get cold. In fact, it's so cold that Governor Ivey has gone ahead and established a state of emergency for North Alabama. So please be careful. It's not just the precipitation she's talking about either. It's also just the really cold temperatures. We're talking about single digits and those wind chill values at 0 and below in some instances. And as I've been perusing the socials this morning, kind of checking to see how everybody's handling this colder weather, there are quite a lot of funny pictures out there. This person actually over on Arab Alabama Awareness, Brandy McCormick, she said, well, this is 231 headed to Huntsville, and she's got a picture of the cast from Ice Age. Yeah, it's not that out there quite yet. But hey, I am keeping an eye on these road conditions. I'm also clued into the EMA accounts over on Facebook. For instance, Marshall County EMA has just recently posted things to have in order in case of a power outage, and with the possibility of freezing rain. That's hopefully not probable, but it is possible. So I want to make sure you have everything in order to make sure you can be well protected from the cold in case your power goes out. Yeah, for us, at my house, that means go over to my mother-in-law's. She's got gas heat. We only have electric. And she's got a fireplace and plenty of firewood. So have a plan in place just in case that electricity goes off. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. There's this verse in the Bible that I absolutely love. It's Romans 10:17. It says, "So then faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God." That's a pretty big deal. That's the reason why whenever I read my Bible, I usually read it out loud so I can hear the words. They can get into my head, and then as I continue to think about them and meditate on them, it can get down into my spirit. But I begin to understand what God says about me, and my faith begins to grow. Maybe it's something you experienced even in Sunday school as a kid. Remember those sword drills where you'd sit down, the whole group would be ready, and you'd have to find a verse as quickly as possible, and whoever got the most verses first won. Yeah, well, it's still important today for us to memorize that scripture, for us to build our faith, and that's something that Brian Trent is speaking about today. Now, I found this guy, Brian, over in Hampton, South Carolina at the Lighthouse Church over on TikTok. He and his family actually post content like all the time, and it's always so good. So I want you to hear a little bit about a verse that really stuck out to Brian, but there's a little more to it. It's a little more involved than just hearing it. Here, you'll see what I mean.
One of the first Bible verses I ever memorized was John 10:10. It says, "For the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly." That was the words of Jesus. But in there's like these two critical words that are vital to this whole thing. May have. Your version may say might. Either way, there's this gap between where I am and where Christ is. I'm looking for life. He's offering it. And that gap has been bridged by Christ himself. It's amazing. But I realized in my relationship with him that there's not just this one and done invitation. It's a constant invitation to get more life. So it requires this new mindset, this new way of doing things. And I realized that it's kind of like if you started a brand new job with a brand new company tomorrow, and you decided that when you started that, you were going to try to do things at the new job the way you did them at your last job. And they would be like, well, that's not how we do things here. And you insisted on it. It's just not going to work out. I can't carry over an old way of doing things into a new life that Christ has to offer me. And it's a progression of growing in that relationship and learning this new mindset, this new way of doing things. And so I encourage you today, learn about that new life. Grasp hold of it, because it's not just one invitation one day. It's an invitation every day to life abundant. Love you guys.
There's something that I've seen less and less of in the past few years, and it's those toy trains. There's this restaurant in Huntsville called Rolo's, and they have a train that goes around the top of the restaurant. I mean, it puffs smoke and everything. It's so cool. But back a few years ago, when I worked in television news, I was working at Channel 31, and they sent me to go do my first what's called Nat Pack. That's a natural sound package at the toy store there on Governor's Drive. And this place was amazing. They had a huge village set up in there for this tiny train system, complete with all the passers-by, all the people ice skating and enjoying themselves at the park and all bundled up. It was like a Christmas village, but this train went through it all. It was so much fun to record that and put it together, to put it on TV. And really, I mean, you can kind of make it just so-so, just the way you want it to be, to see all those sights and just hear all those sounds in your imagination, right? Well, what if you didn't have to rely on imagination anymore? Then you could actually take a winter train ride through some very scenic, natural, beautiful countryside. Well, guess what? You can. It's pretty cool. I found this list of a few different rides that you could go on, and I'll tell you how to get to it right after I'm done here on the radio. But there are 10. One of them goes from Washington, D.C. to St. Albans, Vermont. It takes you through some really big cities, some really small New England towns as well. It's pretty cool. It takes about 13 hours and a lot of scenery. Amtrak also does a Los Angeles and Seattle tour. It's known for its observation cars. Those sightseer lounges provide gorgeous views through floor-to-ceiling windows. It's a train designed for sitting back and taking in a cinematic landscape. And that's just 2 of them. Here's a third. This one is the Amtrak California Zephyr between Chicago and San Francisco. Yeah, through 7 states. It goes 2,437 miles from Chicago to the San Francisco Bay Area. You can ride the train for just one portion of the trip or stick around for all 51 hours and 20 minutes. That's a lot of time on the train, so you could definitely get your fill of those beautiful scenic views. So just a few of them. I'll let you see the rest of them over on our 88.5 JFM's Come Together Facebook group. I just posted it there, so maybe this is an alternative to always going to that same place for vacation every time this year. Maybe you can change it up a little bit. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. This is a versatile little audio clip. It can apply to so many situations. Here, you be the judge.
Hey, come here, look at me. Hey. Look at me. What'd I say? No. Come here. Look at me. Hey. Look at me. No. Come here. Look at me. Hey. What? You want it? No.
I think every parent can relate. Talking to the kids, even talking to the pets. They are fur children, right? But I want to talk with you about a photographer who finds herself doing that a little too often. A wedding photographer, trying to get everybody situated just so. Those big pictures where everybody has to stand there, some in the back, some in the front, and then you got to grab all the kids' attention. That's Katie Tripp. She runs Tripp Photography. She's got quite the following over on TikTok, and she's been sharing a little bit of insider information when it comes to photography. Believe it or not, Katie was really good at hide and seek when she was a kid, and it plays a huge role in her job now. You see, she offers these photo sessions where she'll come and she'll capture that big proposal in secret. Because when you pop the big question, you don't want them to clue in to what's about to happen, right? They're about to become, hopefully, your future husband or wife. Well, Katie, she can hide with the best of them. I've seen 3 pictures on this video. One is of a kitchen. Nice, beautiful, modern kitchen. You see the countertop, you see the trash can, you see the entry door to the side, maybe it goes to a mudroom, you see the cabinets, you see the countertop, everything looks fine. What you don't notice is Katie. She's hiding on top of the cabinets. scooched all the way back so you can't see her. Until you pop that question, she pops out and she snaps that picture. You can't even see her then. You'd have to look around for her. Another one, outside, in front of somebody's house. You know, when those yard ornaments are out there, especially during Christmas, those big Christmas trees and blow up stuff. Well, Katie likes to hide inside the blow up Christmas tree. Oh yeah, and let's not forget, in the living room, Katie will stuff herself into a dog kennel to get the perfect shot. It's hilarious how good she is at this. So, all you kids who are really good at hide and seek, you might be able to use those skills in a photography career. Who knew? Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Now, I want to play hide and seek. Things are just a little different this morning. I'm doing the show from the house because the winds were supposed to be up 85 to 100 miles an hour, and I didn't want to get stuck in Gunnersville and not be able to get back home. Plus, my wife and my daughter are both home today because school's out, right? So I've been like loud and obnoxious between these breaks. I've just been playing with them a little bit, screaming at them from in my office here, and I've got some smiles and some giggles, and it's been a lot of fun. But you know what? This is a weird kind of day, but for parents, I mean, especially those of you with multiple kids, loud and obnoxious and crazy is your norm. And I came across one mom who is definitely feeling it. Her name is Christina Crawford, and this is what she had to say. I lost it over winter break. Sometime around day 5, I yelled, "Everybody stop touching me and asking me for stuff." I felt guilty for snapping and apologized, but the truth is, after being perpetually bombarded with the sights, sounds, and sensations of raising children, I was feeling touched out and just plain needed some space. While the holidays and winter break made the feelings more intense than usual, it was no strange sensation as a mom of 3. Everything is loud. Everything is sticky. The car smells funky from all the sports equipment. By the end of the day, I feel depleted and overstimulated by the sheer amount of it. I need a break from the nonstop stimuli. I crave silence and alone time the way a starving person craves food. A big part of it, I've realized, is the noise. Electronics at high volumes, the blaring television, high-pitched screeches, and repetitive sounds. So basically any kid's toy or song. They all make me stressed and grumpy. Once we had a Buzz Lightyear toy that went off at random times. This drove me batty for months until I couldn't take it anymore. To protect the guilty, me, I'm not going to go into detail about the horrors this previously mentioned toy may or may not have suffered, but suffice to say, it is no longer with us. When I find myself overstimulated, I am prone to yelling and losing my patience with my kids. I know during these times that I am not my best self, and I always regret it afterwards. I can usually feel it building up, so recognizing the early warning signs and knowing what triggers my feelings of sensory overwhelm are key for me. Another challenge is the near constant bickering. As an only child, I'm not used to siblings fighting, so this has been baptism by fire. The kids don't know how lucky they are to even have a sibling, so it enrages me that instead of appreciating that they have a built-in playmate, they argue about everything. Loud and prolonged squabbles have ensued over such ridiculous nonsense as their brother looking at them for too long, whose imaginary friend is taller, whose spot on the couch this is, and what we will name our pet turtle. Spoiler alert, we do not have nor will we be getting a turtle. These fights are like nails on a chalkboard to me. Car rides are the worst because there's nowhere to run. I've often wished my SUV came equipped with one of those privacy dividers, you know, like the kind they have in the limos. Yeah. Don't even get me started on the mess. The sight of our house in disarray induces total anxiety. I look out and see wreckage composed of scattered toys, dirty laundry, and cups. So many cups. Seeing clutter everywhere feels smothering. The worst are Nerf bullets. There are always hundreds of them everywhere, and they somehow seem to regenerate at alarming rates. When I get irritated and feel a meltdown coming on, I'm working on recognizing it and taking action instead of trying to power through. I've even started saying to the kids, Mom is feeling overwhelmed right now and really needs some time to herself. I'm going to go in the other room for 15 minutes to give my brain a break and calm my body. This strategic recharging doesn't always work, and half the time I'm interrupted by arguing over the remote, but even just acknowledging it by saying it out loud helps. I was recently lamenting to a friend about the noise level, but in the next sentence, I was singing the praises of the joyful liveliness of having a bunch of kids, plus their friends, around my house. We both laughed because it seemed so obvious that the two things I was describing are at odds with one another. But that's the thing about parenting. Sometimes two things are true at the same time. I do love having a bunch of kids around, yet sometimes it's just too much. Kids should be kids, loud, annoying, noises and all, but I'm also a person who has needs, and sometimes my need is to not hear those loud, annoying noises, and perhaps even get a little respite from rowdy kids or endless requests for snacks. I'll never be able to fully eliminate the bombardment of stimuli that comes with having 3 kids, but I am slowly figuring out how to mitigate the effects so I can hang on to what sliver of sanity I have left. But like everything in parenting, it's a work in progress. I'm slowly learning it's okay for me to remove myself from the situations where I feel overwhelmed. Also, noise-canceling headphones are clutch. Very well said. Yeah, pretty relatable, right? Hey, Mom, keep up the good work. You're doing such a great job raising your kids. Thank you for doing it. You are so strong.